It will be posted to our Brady Guilford YouTube page where you can access it there. To start off, the main screen you'll be seeing is the login page. What we've added here on the login page for all users are 2 quick links. The first link will take you to 2 to 5 minute tutorial videos on our YouTube page on all the different parts of WebEOC. And the second link will take you to our basic user guides that have been updated to match the updates that we have done. All 3 of these user guides are in a PDF format, so you can just click on them, download them, and review them. Once you are done reading the login page, you'll just click accept and log in. Once you've entered your username and password, you'll be brought to a position and incident drop-down list. Each of these lists depends on the permissions you've been granted. Each user will have a different list of positions. Once you've selected the correct position, you'll move down to the incident. Make sure that if there is a default incident, that if that's the one you need, you're okay, but if there's another incident that you need to access, select the drop-down and select the appropriate incident, and then click continue. The last part of logging into WebEOC is this additional login information page. Purpose behind this login page is to gather more information from you, such as your name, location, phone number, and email. This information that you enter here will help auto-populate forms that you'll be using frequently when in WebEOC. If you're new to the system, these fields will all be blank, but if you previously logged into WebEOC, this information will show what you entered last time you logged in. Once you've either entered information or reviewed it, click continue, and you'll be brought to the WebEOC homepage. On the WebEOC homepage, up in the top left-hand corner, if at any time you need to change any of your basic user information, such as that last page of the login page, your phone number or email, or your password at any time, you can click on your username. Once you click on that, you'll be able to change your password or any of your other user information. Next to that, you have one of 2 ways of logging out of WebEOC. You can either select log out or the red X in the upper right corner. Next, you'll have 2 drop-down lists. At any time, if you need to change your position or incident, you can select either of these drop-downs and select the appropriate selection. Then to the far right, you'll see a question mark and a circle. That is the basic WebEOC help button. When you click this information, you'll be taken to the WebEOC's basic help. This information isn't curtailed to Guilford County WebEOC. This is the software that we purchased. If you need information curtailed to Guilford County WebEOC, please use the basic user guides. Some other new functions that have been added to WebEOC since the last time you're probably in here is this little full screen icon. If you select that icon, it hides all your tabs at the top. To get those tabs back, simply come down here to the bottom and select these 2 arrows that are pointing towards each other. To navigate between the different tabs that you have open across the top, you have 2 options. You can either use these arrows to the left and right of your tabs, or you can select this little blue drop-down arrow to the far right, and it'll show all your recently open tabs that you have open. Then, if you want to close any of these tabs, you can simply either select this little red X next to each tab and close each tab, or you can come back to this blue drop-down arrow and select close all tabs at the bottom, and it'll close all your tabs. Next on this home page, you'll see we've also added a tutorial links video link here on the home page for all users. Next, we're going to be talking about each of the common boards that you'll see being used in WebEOC. From the control panel, which is this little 3 gray lines and a drop-down arrow, once you select that, it'll list all your boards, menus, and plugins that you have have access to based on the position that you're logged into. The first board we'll discuss briefly is a position log. From users that have used WebEOC here in Guilford County before, the only thing that has changed in the position log is this display view, which is being shown. Now you'll have the type of record it is, your description in your position log, and then the record information. If at any time you need to add a new position log, you'll select Create New Record up in the right corner. This green button in the upper right corner is the same way you'll be adding any records and all other boards you'll be using. Simply select it, and it'll open up a new position log to complete. Here is broken into 2 sections, your record sharing and your details. The record sharing section is how you want to share this record. If you just want to create a position log for yourself and no one else to see, don't select any of the checkboxes. If you want to share this record with all users within WebEOC, you'll select Post to Significant Events. If you want this record to be shared with the media or the public, select Available for Release by the Joint Information System. Then we've also added, depending on the position that you're logged in as, you'll have various other checkboxes under there for your ESF or emergency support function. For instance, if I select ESF6 here, all other positions that are in this ESF6 group will be able to see this record. After you've selected how you want to share the record, you'll move down to Details. And under Details, just like the previous position log we had, same exact fields, your date, time, your routine, which has 3 options, routine, high, or flash, event, what type of event it associates with anything, and then the details of your record that you want to enter. One thing not to forget is if there's an address or location associated with the record you're inputting, please input that address here. Once you've added an address, select Get Address to the right of it. What this allows the record to do is be auto-populated for lat and longitude to be mapped on a visual map. Then you have a website, and then you can attach up to 2 documents. Once you complete the form, select Save. And now that form will appear at the top of your list. Next board we'll discuss is a Significant Events board. This board, just like the position log, only thing that has changed from previous is a display view, which you see. If you need to add a new significant event, you can click Create New Record and complete the same position log as we just previously discussed. In this view, though, you'll see that Post to Significant Events available for release by the Joint Information System are already checked. If you don't want either of these checked, just simply uncheck the box and they will no longer be shared that way. Details, same layout as your position log. Once you're done, select Save. Then you'll see that the position log has now lit up light blue, but you will not see your significant events record here. We'll discuss that a little bit later on, why it's not shown here right away. What you see here by the little blue star and the light blue tab means that new information has been entered into that board. Or if you come to the control panel, the blue star here next to the name means that new information has been added. The next board we'll be discussing is the My Request board. This is the only board within WebEOC that has had a complete change, including the display view here and the input view. On display view, you'll see If you enter a new request, the request will be top of the new record, and then whenever somebody adds an update, it'll be shown under the last update. Then over to the far right, you have 3 options to view the record, add a comment or update, and then update the status. Then under these 3 options, you'll have the status of the record. Then the last major part of the display view is the time due. Once you complete or you submit a request, a time due field is automatically assigned to that record, and once that time is passed, this box will show red. What that allows us to do is when we're monitoring these in the EOC, it's a visual cue for us to know when a record has not been touched since it was submitted. To create a new request, simply create the green button in the right corner, and the request form appears. This form is broken into 4 sections: the details, contact information, location, and attachments. First section you'll have to complete is the details. You have request type, priority, date, time due, and detailed description. Under your request type, you have 3 options: mission request, resource request, and information request. Then under priority, just like your position log, you have 3 options: flash, high, and routine. Depending on what priority you select, will automatically populate the date time due based off the time assigned to each priority. Next, enter a detailed description under the detailed description box. Please, when you're doing this, be as detailed as possible. So whenever we are assigning it out to agencies that are taking care of the record, they know exactly what you need. Also, when completing a request, if you have a request that includes both any of the above, equipment, personnel, or manpower, please split those up into each one separate request for each of those categories, because if we need to assign it out to multiple agencies, we can have the ability to do so. Once you're done with the details, move down to the contact information. The primary contact information will be your information, the user inputting the request. Then if there is a secondary contact, please input their information in the secondary contact field. If there is no secondary contact, leave those fields blank. Then, as on the position log and significant events board, if you have an address associated with this request, enter in the address field, then select address so this request can be mapped. And then here you can attach up to 3 documents or attachments and add a brief description for each one. Once done, select save, and you'll see it appears at the top of your list. You'll see that it's set to not reviewed. If at any time you're working on a request or need to add an update to any request, simply select the add comment to the far right. Then here you'll add an update in the comment section. And then select save. Now you'll see that update I just made appears under the last update. If at any time you need to change the status of the record, select Update Status. Select from the drop-down the appropriate status, and then select Save. The next board we're going to go over is the After Actions board. Only thing that's changed here is the display again, this view here. Input view, if you hit the green button, looks identical to the previous After Action input that we had. So you have record sharing. Most people will have 3 options here. First is my agency or position, meaning you only want to share this record with the position you're logged in as. Guilford, which is the entire Guilford County system. And then each subsystem will have a third option listed below with the name of their subsystem. Then under the After Actions input, if there's anything that you see that needs to be improved during an incident or event, you can put it here in the description. Then if you have a possible solution to the improvement, you can add it in the recommendation field and then select what type of AAR it is, be it policy, equipment issue, IT issue, etc. And then you can attach a file if you need to. Once you're done, select Save. Then it'll appear at the top of your list. Once an incident or event is completed, all these AARs are reviewed and compiled into an after action report. The next board we'll go over is the EOC phone directory. What the EOC phone directory allows everybody to see are all the current staff positions within the physical EOC and a phone number for that position. On this phone directory, you'll only see the staff positions. You'll not see positions that are vacant. And we've also, under the Actions drop-down button to up in the upper right corner, is also an alternate EOC phone directory if we activate the alternate EOC. Next is the incident contacts board. Here is just a running list of all the contacts for that incident if we need to get a hold of anybody. If you need to add your contact information for that incident, you'll simply select New Contact. Select how you want to share the record, just same as the After Actions board. My agency or position is only your position. Guilford is the entire Guilford County system. And then there's a third option for each subsystem for their subsystem. Then you have on and off duty. If you're currently working that shift, you leave it to on duty. Then once you leave your shift, you'll switch it to off duty. Then your first name, last name, agency, current phone number, and email are all auto-populated based off the information you provided when you logged into WebEOC. One phone number to make sure you have correct is your current phone number. Most people have this as their office phone, but for some reason you're working in the EOC or out in the field, please make sure this phone number is a number we can reach you at directly, either be a cell phone or an extension here in the EOC. And you can also add a title or work phone or a cell phone number also. Once you're done completing this form, select Save. And it'll appear at the top. If at any time you need to change anything in your contact information, simply select the edit icon in the far right. You will only have access, as you can see here, to edit the records that you've inputted. You cannot change any information for anybody else. Once you edit, come in here and make any changes you need to make, and then save. Then you'll see next to the status column, the status of that individual, on duty or off duty. Next board is the incident files board. What this is just all the files for that incident, be situation reports, incident action plans, maps, any other files for that incident. In order to add a new file, just like any other board, select the green button in the far right corner. Select how you want to share the record. The file type. The first drop down is the primary file type, EOC file, media, or incident file. Then second drop down is the specific file type. So this example, I selected EOC file. Now I have the option of situation report, incident action plan, map, or other. But if I selected, for example, media, I have these 5 options. After you select the file type, enter a file title. then select the file you want to upload. Once you're done, select Save. And just like all other boards, the most current record will show at the top of the list. Next, we have the NCEM SIG events. This used to be labeled NC Sparta SIG events. What this is the state's WebEOC, where we can keep a situational awareness of what's being posted throughout the state. Next, we have our shelters list, which will only show the current shelters that are open and their population in those shelters. Then under menus, you'll have links. Under these links, we have put commonly viewed websites such as our local media, power outage maps, City of Greensboro and High Points, GIS sites, and other frequently used websites such as National Weather Service, Ready, Guilford, and so forth. And if you just simply click any of these links, it'll open up that website. Then the last three things we're going to talk about, the plugins, file library. These are overall main documents that all users have access to, such as our cost recovery guide, some policies, our recovery framework, and so forth. Then the messages plugin, what this basically is email within WebEOC. So if you need to send a message to any other user within WebEOC, you can simply compose a new message. Select who you want to send the message to, hit assign, then type in just like an email, subject and body, and then hit send, and it will send them a message. Then under messages, you can see all the messages that you've been sent, and then any messages that you sent to anybody else. Then the last thing we're going to discuss is the WebEOC mapper. What WebEOC mapper is the mapping software that's built within WebEOC that maps any of the inputs or records you've submitted with an address and maps them on a map for us. So as you can see here, it's currently showing all of our shelters that we have in our inventory. And just as a reminder, this will be posted to our Ready Guilford YouTube channel for anybody. Along with, on November 9th, this Wednesday coming up at 1:30, we will be having our WebEOC quarterly exercise. If you have any questions, please type them in the questions bar. And if no one else has any questions, that will end today's webinar. Okay, I do not see any questions, so thank you for participating. And we look forward to participating on Wednesday's WebEOC exercise.